Welcome to the BleedRedBlacks podcast.
Best fans in the league right here, baby!
With your hosts, Colin and Mike.
Susie Q.
Produced by Mark and Johnny Z. BleedRedBlacks starts now.
BleedRedBlacks.
Gabriel is open in the end zone. Touchdown! The Ottawa fans and players are going crazy.
Your number one podcast for all things Red Black.
Left, Henry still on his feet. Now the toss, and it is caught for the touchdown. Wallace Miles.
Every season,
Marco drops the pass. End zone shot. Back right corner. Caught for the touchdown. Jamal Smith.
all season.
For Burris on first down, drops the pass, pressured in the pocket, takes off himself. Down to the goal line. Touchdown, Burris.
Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the BleedRedBlacks podcast. I'm Colin and I'm joined here once again by, there she is.
Surprise!
Janine, what's up?
Hey, Colin, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for stepping in while season ticket holder Mike is off gallivanting in Las Vegas.
Absolutely.
And we're also joined here by the one and only Ken from the Lumberjoes. What's up, buddy?
Not much, with the shirt on, I might add.
With the shirt on. I was thinking, I'm just full on ripping my shirt off when we start.
Yeah,
And I was talked out of it. So
By
they're
me.
like,
Me.
You've seen Ken with his shirt off, right? You want to do a comparison? Is that what we're doing here now? So, come on, Janine, really?
I would have felt like the odd person out.
It just would have been embarrassing when I pulled off my shirt and I had my Spanx on underneath. So, winning. He's back. Come on, Mark. Crank that sheen, buddy. I can't wait. I want to hear it. Yeah, I love it. We're all excited here. It's way more fun doing the show when we're winning.
For sure.
And after beating the Grey Cup champs this past weekend, life is good. Life is very good.
What a great night it was too for a victory. So it was just a great
perfect.
night all around.
It was
Great night
awesome.
all around.
So with season ticket holder Mike away, Johnny Z is at the cottage, and Santino's on vacation. A vacation from Brazil. Like, what? What does that even mean? Like, you're going somewhere awesomer? Like, I don't even know where that is. But anyways, we're working with the skeleton crew, and we're going to pull up our suspenders and make this happen. You hear the snap?
Did the snap on the audio there?
So it was great having our nation come through for us to bring us the best possible product. And it's awesome having you guys in here. And as you know, Hank would say, best fans in the league right here, baby. Thanks so much, you guys, for coming in. And, all the listeners should thank you guys for preventing Mark and I from rolling solo in here for 90 minutes. Can you say the Oreo Montebello Def Leppard podcast?
With canned laughter.
Yeah,
With
canned
canned
laughter. Yeah. Well, that's the key, right? Yeah.
And crickets.
Yeah. Well, let's not even talk about the crickets, okay? I'm going to feed those things to my lizard when I get home. But no, it actually worked out pretty well. And Mark had kind of let me know that was going to happen. So I was anxiously waiting. I mean, I knew that bit bombed. I was well aware that wasn't funny as at all. But with the crickets, it was pretty glorious. So, House of Targ. So prior to the game, in between tailgating and Lansdowne, we headed down to House of Targ to everyone's favorite punk rock pierogies and pinball destination. I had my game face on. I was ready to crush the Kalamal pierogies. Meanwhile, Richie was lost in a world of Double Dragon. And I mean, I can't really blame him, right? Like, Double Dragon's glorious. The best beat-em-up style side-scroller of 87. Hands down, right? You a Double Dragon guy, Ken? Or?
Yeah, well, I was a TMT guy, or TMNT.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a good side-scroller, too. But I got to be honest, though, I feel a little ashamed. I had never heard of House of Targ.
Okay.
And then I looked it up, and
it's glorious.
I've made plans already for
good.
the rest of the week.
It's an awesome place, and I'm thinking we should have our podcast party there. Like, I don't know. Make sure you check the place out, though, at House of Targ on Twitter. It's located 1077 Bank Street, directly across from the Mayfair Theater, and just a really fun, chilled-out place to go. And, an arcade where you can get handmade pierogies and beets and sauerkraut. That's all they serve.
Nice.
Yeah, it's amazing. So
Do they have Tetris and Duck Hunt, which were my games of choice?
I don't think they have Duck Hunt. They do have Area 51 and Silent Scope, and they definitely have Tetris though, for
It's
sure.
a respectable list of games. I was looking at the website. I was enthralled.
Yeah, it's funny. I went there with my nephew, and he was like, "What are these things? Like, these are supposed to be cool. Like, look at the graphics." I'm like, "It's all about gameplay, kid." Not so much. So Ken, you maybe want to talk a little bit about this, but my favorite PGA tournament of the year is the Canadian Open. Obviously, I'm a homer. I spent some time in Oakville as well, but they were back in Oakville this year. And story of the year was Canadian David Hearn.
Yeah, no, that was heartbreaking. I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
I jinxed it too because I emailed you.
Yeah.
Saturday, I said tomorrow I'm going to be watching golf history in the making.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like, no, I'm not jinxing it. It's going to be fine. He's going to win. And then I jinxed it.
Well, if you want, we can just talk about Pat Fletcher, but I don't really know too much
all the way
about him.
back to 1954.
Yeah, 1954, that's right. So yeah, Weirzy took a run at it in 2004. It was the 100th anniversary of the Open, but was disappointed in playoff by Vijay Singh. So unfortunately, Hearn couldn't hang on. He wound up finishing fourth for $400K. So not too bad. Not a bad payday. His second top 5 or top 10 this year.
Yeah.
So good on him. Aussie Jason Day came out on top, and he's a clutch golfer, man, and he's a powerful dude. And he was speaking earlier in the week about suffering from jet lag and feeling just off and really not on his game at all.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that he was able to dig deep. And I mean, he made a birdie putt on the last 12 of the tournament to secure the victory. So
yeah. And you can't not like him. I mean,
yeah,
that's the worst part for me. Vijay Singh, when he beat Weirzy, I was like, okay, he's my enemy from now
he's kind
on.
of a crusty dude too,
but
right?
Jason Day, when he sunk that putt, I was like, I feel good right now. I felt good for him,
Yeah,
especially after the Open too. I could talk about golf for 90 minutes, but
Meanwhile, Janin's
I'm
like,
just gonna sit here and think
Janin's
about
like, I love
pierogies at the House of Tark.
Janin's like, I love the driving range.
Who's gonna teach me how to play?
Well, you got some golfers here, man. Maybe that's another thing we have to do is set up a BleedRedBlacks Our Nation golf tournament. I think it might be a little late in the year to do that now, but for next year, for sure, we could do that and maybe find a qualified charity who could benefit from that.
Idea.
So that'd be awesome. Maybe
just be warned that whoever gets stuck with me on their team has a major handicap that they have.
Well, as long as they like to party, right?
Best
it's all
ball.
good.
Let's play best ball.
Of course. Anyways, yeah, good quality golf, and I love that tournament. It's just too bad it gets kind of the short end of the stick when it comes to scheduling. You know?
it's the evil stepchild of the PGA Tour.
Yeah,
sometimes,
that's right. I thought that was Tiger.
Yeah.
Nice. So okay. So Janine, I wanted to go to the Ukrainian festival this weekend, and I wasn't able to. I think I got my pierogi fix at Targ on Friday, to be honest.
There you go. Yeah.
And I also wound up with some Fury tickets. But so tell me about the Ukrainian festival that happened this weekend.
It was great. So it was the first national capital Ukrainian festival, and I'm not Ukrainian, but I grew up in small town Manitoba in a predominantly Ukrainian community. So I have very fond memories of the fall summer at the Ukrainian, or the fall supper, at the Ukrainian church, and eating, as I said on Facebook, my body weight in pierogies. Thank you, by the way.
105 pounds.
Thank you for underestimating majorly. I heart you for that. No, but it was really great. So we got there in time to see some of the dancing finishing up, some of the cultural dancing, and it's really nice and colorful, and the music it's really nice to see a community come together like that. And the pierogies were fantastic.
Yeah.
They were fantastic.
I saw a photo of a bunch of old Ukrainian ladies preparing them all, and it looked pretty awesome.
Yeah,
so.
there was it was a lot of work.
There's like an art to it, right? Like it's not like it's all handmade
my mom
stuff,
used to
right?
have one of those things called Wild Bill's pierogi makers.
The traditional method.
Just go YouTube it, guys.
Well, Wild Bill was
Wild
Ukrainian,
Bill's
I think, wasn't he?
pierogi maker. So we didn't do it by hand. We cheated a little, but no, it was a lot of fun, and it's just really nice. My husband and I try to hit as many of these cultural festivals as we can.
Yeah.
There's so many of them during the summer that we inevitably always miss a few, but it's a nice way to get to know members of one of the many vibrant cultural communities in Ottawa. So
For sure. I mean,
check it out next year for sure.
It seems like every weekend there's something happening.
I know. We missed the Lebanese festival because just like too much stuff going on. So Greek festival's coming up. It's always something good to do in this town.
And usually food's included, and you know how we like food.
That's right.
So I went to the Fury game yesterday, and it was just a scorcher.
Yeah, I
like
bet.
the temperature on the field, I think, like reaching around 35.
And they're just on the south side, eh? The fans are just sitting on the south side for Fury games?
Oh, well, there's north side field level
okay.
seats.
Okay, I thought they just opened on one side.
Anyways, it was a great crowd. They had over 5K.
Yeah, they're doing really well.
And they pulled off an exciting last-minute victory, and they actually secured first-place position in the combined standings for the first time in club history.
Nice.
So good on them,
Yeah.
and good on OSEG for having this young team grow so quickly. You
Yeah.
know, they're obviously doing the right things, and by the looks of our football club, it's not the only team that they're running in the right direction there. So that's great. And I mean, the lineup for the lemonade stand, like 10x the beer line. And you know me, last week I was going on about those
The
friggin'
lemonade.
but it wasn't being sold out of a lemon-shaped booth.
Kiosk.
Well, that's not legit.
So I'm like,
Come
I
on.
don't know, like it just didn't. It felt just wrong.
So you don't stop if there's kids on the side of the road, eh?
All depends.
No, that's not a lemon shaped booth.
They're like, it's only 5 cents. I'm like, maybe you should raise your prices and step it
Get
up,
yourself
kids.
a lemon.
Buy yourself a booth.
Anyways, this is a great time, and I love Fury games, and I recommend everyone go down there. So Collins this week, the studio has finally entered the 21st century.
Woo!
All right, Mark. Yeah. Woo! We're now equipped to take calls in here. I don't know if it was that we weren't equipped before, or we just never got our shit together.
Never figured it out.
But either way, our shit is equipped now to take calls. So that'll be a lot of fun moving forward. If you would like to call in and be a guest on the show, talk about anything, please email us at bleedredblacks@gmail.com, and we're pretty accommodating, and that'll be great. And to add that element to the show, it will be awesome. And I imagine on some, maybe not this bye week, but our next bye week, we may just do that for the whole show. So something kind of cool, Janine. So next time you're sitting at home and the phone rings, just be careful because it may be the boys.
Well, now that I've added you to Skype.
Heyo. I just have to excuse myself. I'm suffering from like a weird cold allergy thing. I'll do my best not to cough directly into the mic, but Mark has these like spit guard things. I feel like I need to carry this around with me everywhere I go. Like, and I always do the chicken wing thing, right? Like everyone knows you don't cough into your hands.
Into your
But,
elbow.
yeah, but like sometimes it looks like I'm just taking the guns out for a rip, But
Red Black's photo shoot.
There
you
it
want to
is.
go there?
There it is.
Do you want to go there? Anyways, see, I had a joke written in earlier and I skipped it.
I'm just preempting everything.
I'm trying to be nice to
I know,
this
I know
guy.
it's coming. I know it's coming.
No,
So
I
just-
did. I looked past it. We've all seen it. We've
Yeah.
all seen it, and you look great after a solid photoshopping.
It was some heavy filter action.
No,
man.
I'm teasing. You guys looked awesome. And speaking of which, CFL road trip photographer. I'm sorry. Could you tell me how to properly pronounce her name en français?
Joanie.
So Joanie Jutras will be calling in later in the episode to discuss her current CFL creative project, and it was really great to meet her last week. I think it's great to see someone who's passionate about her art, as well as the game and the league we all love. So it'll be fun to shoot the breeze with her later on, and Ken, you were able to spend some time with her while she was in Ottawa, and I'm sure you had a pretty awesome time with her, and she's a pretty cool, creative woman for sure.
It's a fun project too. I mean, she's engaged, and I think Ottawa was a good place to start. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a young team and a young fan base, but I think everybody was really excited there. You saw on Twitter, everybody was, oh, come see this, come see us, come do this. So I think she probably was a little overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that was going on.
Yeah, like I don't know if Mr. Schubier would have fallen asleep that night. Like he got some pretty solid coverage, man.
Yeah.
Like his Twitter bit followers are just gonna go through the roof. So.
I think it was a good start.
Yeah.
I think I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes the rest of the project. Like she left all her stuff, sold everything. It's all in storage in Montreal. So
Okay.
good for you.
Yeah, I think it's really cool when someone kind of steps out on a limb like that, regardless of what your creative endeavor is. If you want to do it, just pull up your socks and grind it out, and you can do it. And I mean, we've proven that here. I mean, you want to do it, just go for it. And it's amazing what you can achieve. I mean, what amazes me is she's doing this all, by herself, and I guess obviously with help of the football community. But she didn't have the kind of support that we have here. I couldn't imagine doing this by myself. Like, I couldn't, obviously, right, Mark? But trying to justify it. So So we show up, and there are these gorgeous red velvet, Red Blacks themed, bacon something cupcakes. And they look glorious. And season ticket holder Mike, I don't know what you're doing in Vegas right now, but you're definitely not eating Red Blacks themed cupcakes.
There's not going to be any left.
You tell whoever your chef of the Palazzo to step it up because, yeah, it's just not happening. So no game preview this week, obviously. But now I'm going to say this. Season ticket holder Mike is supposed to be calling in from Vegas. We'll see if that happens.
But anything can happen in Vegas.
Anything,
so.
yeah. And what happens in Vegas stays on the
in
Bleed
Vegas.
Red Blacks podcast. So. I mean, no one listens to this anyway. I told him, worst case, we'll just add it to the basement tapes. And when those get released, we'll just... I mean, we're going to have to lawyer up when we release the basement tapes anyway. So we might as well...
Those basement tapes are getting longer and longer.
It's pretty crazy. I actually have the raw file on my desktop at work. And about once every 2 weeks, I just give her a listen. And I just it's I can't even believe it happened, to be honest. Like, let's just say Nanny would not be proud of her grandson. So Santino, like I'd mentioned, is on a vacation from Brazil. Shrug, question mark. And Johnny Z, I mean, he's soaking up some rays at his cottage, but he was still able to add a Bytown Beat segment.
Good for
So we'll
him.
be doing that.
That's dedication.
Anyways, guys, how about we get into a little game recap action? Normally, I'd be throwing this to Santino and throwing this to you, so we're here now, so let's get into some game recap.
Sounds good.
Hey, guys, thanks for listening to the Bleed Red Blacks podcast. Check us out on Twitter at BleedRedBlacks and on Facebook at facebook.com/BleedRedBlacks podcast. Game recap. So let's just fire up Charlie Sheen right away. I mean, I love this guy. I love winning, and yeah, I'm just so excited to be here talking football, talking winning football with Janine and Ken. This is amazing. So I promise no Bill and Ted's reference this week. I should have obviously went with Back to the Future, right? Like obviously.
Obviously.
So thank you to the one listener who actually thought it was funny. Someone actually got in touch with me and said, just so you know, I thought it was funny.
That's really
so obviously
adorable.
his cold meds were working as well as mine were. But good on him. And Mark, one more time, I will feed those crickets to my lizards. So we're also going to add it up. We're going to roll the Bull Durham, the famous winning quote. Thanks to Superfan Skinner for reminding us of this beauty.
I love winning,
for the second consecutive Friday, we were back at TD Place. And once again, the East Berm was packed, full of fans enjoying the game for free.
That's so great.
It's amazing.
I know, it's so
I just
great.
love that. Yeah, that's winning for me. Watching the game for free, right? That's
Wait
glorious.
Wait a minute.
It's a good view too. I mean, I went up for a walk there the other day. It's a fantastic view.
Can you see pretty much the whole?
Oh,
you
you
see
can-
the whole
yeah.
field from there?
Yeah, I'm not trying to take money away from OSEG, but if you get right on top of the berm, you can see everything, see
That's
the screen.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, good for them though for allowing the stadium to be so accessible, because that's
For
going to
sure.
convince a
Yeah.
few people to get their bums in seats next year, right?
That's the way I think about it. I don't think people who are there, they're losing money because I think if you want to be in the barn, you're going to be in the barn, right?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
like you said, if it does attract, a few more people to buy tickets, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't say it enough. Jeff Hunt knows exactly what he's doing, and it shows. And
Such a great businessman.
we see that seems to be the theme every episode, right? Jeff Hunt's he's killing it.
Yeah.
So you know what? We're gonna do this early too. Normally Mike would step in now and tell me to shut up and say the Red Blacks won 29-26.
Oh, right. That's right. See, I'm not a good Mike.
Yay! So before we get into that, I just want to say awesome tailgating at Brewer Park that was set up by the Southsiders. Great food, tunes, and company. Thank you so much for inviting the Bleed Red Blacks crew. We had a blast. I had my first ever Bud Light Lime, right?
And
I'm afraid to admit it, but it was actually delicious.
really,
I said it.
really,
Weird, right?
really. Well, I guess you stick a lime in a Corona, isn't I guess?
And it was
kind of the
ice
same
cold, and I think it was just the gesture,
Everything
gesture.
felt good about it.
Yeah, it
So-
was just like
thing? It
there
was
was
free, so it tasted.
It was just it was like full of love or something. But the mad props on their Parliament themed nacho display, that was pretty
I
sick,
missed
right?
that.
See, I missed that
The
too.
7-layer Eternal Flame, that's the way to do it.
I missed that.
I missed that.
Really?
Yep.
So there's some good pictures up. I'll send them to you. But
cool.
mad props to those guys. They're putting on an awesome
That's
party.
pretty cool.
And all I gotta say is Bud Light Lime plus nachos equals eternal flame in my stomach. So yeah, I just kept on going. And awesome, great to see Stamp super fan. And Bleed Red Black supporter Deb Strickland at the party.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun at the game as well. She wound up moving down to our section.
I heard that she went to your section.
She's amazing. Just a great fan.
She's taking me. I don't know if you know this, Colin, but in August, my husband and I are taking a week vacation. We're going to Calgary to see the Foo Fighters.
Awesome.
Mumford and Sons, and the Red Blacks take on the Calgary Stampeders.
Sounds like a pretty good weekend.
So she's going to take me and Craig around to a few tailgates before the Stamps.
That'll be amazing.
I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, it's going to be a great week.
That'll
and a great game.
Fun. Yeah.
So after the second offensive series, fans were booing Henry Burris. Like, are you kidding me? Yeah. Like, have you ever watched a football game before? Like, most experienced and veterans quarterbacks and coaching staffs make their dough from in-game adjustments and adapting to what's being shown by the defense. It's just so frustrating. I mean, obviously Hank got the last laugh. But I mean, the Stamps are one of the worst teams in the first quarter as well. So I mean, I don't hear Bo Levi getting booed in Calgary. You know.
No, and he certainly isn't playing up to his own standards. So yeah, exactly.
And he's my starting QB on my fantasy team.
I know, because I'm kicking your ass on.
Hey, with that being said, I'm coming on, right, Janine?
You are coming on.
Hey, thank you. I just needed to get that from you. Hey, I just needed a little fluff. So the Stamps stormed out to an early 11-0 lead. A quick TD to Eric Rogers, who had a great game, 6 receptions for $124.
In my fantasy.
Oh. I see how this is going. Yeah. So that prompted Deb to tweet something out about a barn burner. Like, gear down there, Big Rig. You know?
Was she sitting with you at that time?
I know, she was 3 seats
later?
behind us at that point, yeah. But anyways, the Stamps also prove early that the 2-point conversion may be the way to go moving forward. And there are a lot of really interesting articles up today. Did you guys check out any of those stories? I know Nate Sager at YouTube on Yahoo Sports put one up, just crunching the numbers and.
Yeah, I didn't read his, but I have seen a few other numbers thrown out there, and I don't know what you guys think about that rule change, but I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. Right. I think it's great that they're going for 2 more often.
I think it's amazing, and the correlation with moving back the single is bigger for me. I mean, having anything in a game that's like over a 99% certainty. Like, that isn't really, like, it's almost redundant. Like, just give them the point and let's just get going. So
that's what it was last year, you know? It was just walk away. Okay, 7 on the board.
Yeah,
and it's a lot of, it's fun seeing teams go for it, too.
I think it's tricky, right? Like, we saw Grant Shaw struggle with them, and he's one of the best kickers in the league, and his field goal percentage this year is perfect, and he's only kicked 80% of extra points. I think they might have to bring back the toe kick. What do you think? Well, these dead-on extra points, like throw on your green triangle steel toes and just square up.
Give it a shot.
Square up, yeah. Anyways, that tweet must have lit a fire under Henry. Because, man.
He heard it.
Yeah.
He went to the sideline and pulled out his phone.
Yeah. It's not a playbook he's looking at.
Yeah. Priorities, yeah. What did Deb say? Yeah. He did come he spent time in Calgary. I'm sure he knows her, let's be honest. It's a small community, right? So after Rene paired his field goal, Hank drove the boys down the field and completed a beauty touchdown pass to Ernest Jackson. I mean, it wasn't a perfectly thrown ball, but Jackson showed a lot of strength, composure, and experience, and he was able to wrestle the ball away from defensive back Brandon Smith to secure the 6 points. So it's just nice to see these guys coming up with catches that maybe they don't deserve to come up with.
Yeah.
We didn't really get much of that in years past, right?
And it was just nice to see that we have receivers that are so able to, whether it's climbing the ladder, or in this case, he was actually kind of soaring diagonally through the air to make this catch, and he had to keep his feet in. I mean, it was great. And frankly, I watched the game on TSN again, and I was getting really, really, really sick of announcers talking about no points in the first quarter, no points. And I love TSN, but I was really getting sick of it. So I was jumping up and down when this happened.
Finally get fantastic. That point on the board,
And also, we won't talk about this too much because this is we're all positive, winning. But Mo Price, he's just kind of coming out of the gate a little slow, and he better be careful because he's got some guys chomping at the bit who are ready to come off the 6-gamer. Mr. Henry, our leading receiver last year, and
a couple of guys chomping at the bit to get into.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I got a lot of time for him, but there's only so many games in the season.
That's right.
So a John Cornish TD and another successful 2-point conversion gave Calgary. I mean, it looked like they were taking the momentum away, but until former Argos lineman Aston Whiteside showed up. Now, this kid played quite well for the Argos last year and was cut in camp this year, apparently due to an injury. And apparently Desjardins called his mom and asked her, like, that's the lengths that he went to.
Yeah. I didn't hear that story.
Called his mom and was like, we got to get this kid in here. So that little bit of effort, I mean, and sure, he hasn't done much thus far. But, I mean, 2 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 sacks, showed his athletic ability. I mean, he chased down Bo Levi, right? And it's not – and that guy's got some pretty competent legs on him, we'd say. And
if there's a game to show your stuff, it's against the former Grey Cup champions.
There you go, yeah.
He impressed. I mean, the second forced fumble was fantastic. But the first one, too, you're right. Running him down like that.
Yeah.
Getting right on him.
So, I mean, it's weird how these guys kind of just – I don't want to say come out of nowhere. He's an established player, but I love guys getting a second chance like that. And
absolutely.
Good on Desjardins for calling his mom. That's amazing. Really, right? Like, that's great. I love that stuff. You hear stories about, the team manager flew to his house, and it's not how we do it up here. Just call his mom.
Can't get a hold of him, call his mom.
Yeah, like page him, whatever.
Can Aston come up to play?
Sign the yeah, just fax me when you're done. So that resulted in a Delbert Alvarado field goal and a nice drive showcasing the former chemistry of Henry Burris and Greg Ellingson.
Yeah.
Another guy we've been kind of wanting a little more out of, and he had 4 receptions, 54 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, he had a good night. It's interesting to see how, one game it's Sinopoli that gets the passes. This game, Ellingson got a lot of those passes. Like, it's just so great to see he's got so many options, and to keep the other team on their toes, he's not using the same guy game after game as his go-to, so it's great.
Yeah,
like each one of those wins, I think you can almost look at a different receiver and say that was their game.
Absolutely.
Jackson for the first one, and then Sinopoli for the second win, and then I think Williams and
Ellingson this time.
Game really showed some good stuff.
And that's great. I mean, we've been saying depth is the name of the game, right? And all right, something weird just happened here, but that's okay. I'm sure Mark's got under control. You just had a high score on Tetris. He's jamming Tetris, isn't he?
Okay, I'll be in there with producer Mark.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so Johnny is in the house. I like it. So we were able to get our first lead of the game when Henry Burris found Chris Williams ripping down the sideline. And, I mean, this showcased Chris Williams' wheels. I mean, it was an 84-yard touchdown, 8 minutes left in the fourth. And Williams made Calgary defender Buddy Jackson look like producer Mark was covering him.
Now, come on.
Not even a reaction. He's got his producer face on today. Hey, producer Mark, can you turn up that canned laughter? Thank you.
Thank you.
That reeks of crickets. I'm getting crickets on that one. Delbert missed the extra point, once again proving the new system is working, like we said. So keeping their lead at 26-23. And another thing that happened just prior to this was Cornish left the game early in the third quarter and didn't return. It turns out he's out with a broken thumb. And
8 games I just read today on Twitter.
Yeah, that's tough. Right?
Although
that
last year Matt Walters really stepped it up for the Calgary Stampeders, so it'll be nice to see Walters get a chance again to get in there. But losing John Cornish is a
there's only one of him, right? And the stats say it all. So he had 7 carries for 20 yards, an average of 2.85 yards a carry last game, and his season average is 5.5 yards a carry, and his career average is 6.7 yards per carry. So crazy numbers.
Yeah. And
having him on the bench in the fourth quarter, even though he was kind of quiet, he's one of those guys that can just take over a game at any point.
That's the thing
and
with him.
I think that was. I mean, our D block played great while he was in, but having him on the bench, you just lose that element, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and he's a big, he's also just a big psychological boost for his team, being out on the field, being dressed to play, because he's, like you said, Colin, there's only one John Cornish, right? So,
yeah, absolutely.
the mark of a good team is being able to, the next guy up the chart gets his shot, team rallies around him, but it still has an impact no matter how much you prepare for it. So it'll be good to see Matt Walters out there, but yeah, it's too bad for the Stamps to lose John Cornish this way.
Mm-hmm. So Renee Parrott as Mr. Longfoot, your enemy from last week's game preview, was on display. He connected on a 49-yarder to tie the game up when it counted and send it into overtime, and that was an exciting time. We don't really get too many last-minute kind of games like this, I guess. I know this team's kind of new, and for me, this was a huge game. It was probably the best game I have watched at home as a Red Blacks fan, and I just think it was awesome, and the way it went down in overtime too, with Mr. Toronto coming through and forcing the fumble, and then Sholo scooping it up. Mike called out Sholo last week, so
yeah, it was interesting.
It was great.
To cover that after hearing what Mike said last week.
It was great. So yeah, obviously
He's
Mike
listening to the podcast.
Yeah, or all of Mike's harassing emails. He might have finally opened one.
That was a good game, though. I mean,
yeah. So massive fumble recovery set up, redemption for Delbert Alvarado, and he made it when it counted. So just an awesome game. Great seeing the boys, lift him up after his clutch kick.
Yeah, and
it's just like right out of a movie.
It was awesome, and I don't know if you rewatched it again. If you do like me and you PVR all the games, so you wouldn't have seen it in stadium. But Coach Campbell's reaction. As to I was watching his face as he's watching, and then and he's such a calm guy.
Yeah.
So he didn't have like an explosion a la, former Mike Benavides, head coach of BC or anything, but just this big smile on his face and his hands went up in the air and he was just, I just kept thinking in my head, he got 3 wins. That's what he's thinking, right? I broke my record from last year. But it was just really nice to see that reaction, and I got a little bit choked up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fans deserve it, the team deserve it, the city deserves it.
I thought the fans were fantastic.
Yeah,
it was game, other than the booing early on.
Yeah, but
I watched it again, and it was loud.
Yeah, it was really loud.
It's the loudest game I saw this week. So
really
that's one thing I didn't ask Deb about. I mean, she's a CFL vet. Just how she said, obviously it's a beautiful facility, but just noise-wise and atmosphere-wise, I mean, I'd like to find another place that can compare to that for sure. So our stars came alive. Henry, 28 for 43, 389 yards, 3 touchdowns, and this is the big one, 0 interceptions. So to you guys, which one stands out the most to you?
To be honest, what stood out most for me was the touchdowns. It's been a bit of a drought on our home field for touchdowns. We've had some this season, which has been great, but thinking back to last season, how long it took before they could rev up those chainsaws and on an offensive touchdown, because even the first touchdown in TD Place was that special teams onside kick
to
thing
Dobson
that had everybody going, what the heck just happened? But no, I think the touchdowns, seeing Henry throw 3 touchdowns like he did way back when he was with other teams, it was fantastic.
Well, I see they're pre-cutting the wood cookies now, right? Like they're getting it going. So
because you can't just, like from my lumberjack days.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't just wait to start cutting a log.
Yeah.
You got to be ready to go.
Ken, you gotta get through that without laughing. Otherwise, the image,
from my lumberjack days.
Is
my former lumberjack days.
Yeah. So what about you, Ken? Which numbers stand out the most to you?
The 0 interceptions.
Yeah.
But I think, and it's not on here, but it was the number of times, second down, and he was connecting with guys, and he was getting those long passes when they needed to get those passes.
Yeah.
Williams especially. So it's not here, but I think,
cool.
When he was connecting, it was just it was fun.
Yeah.
I had a great time watching him. Other than the first couple series when you're still feeling things out, it was a Henry Burris show.
I think when he's on, right?
Yeah,
let's be honest. And he's kept himself in amazing shape. And the old 40-year body, I don't think it comes into play as much as people think. I think it's an easy thing to rip on him,
He's getting used to that progressive offense too. Like he's finding how to make the plays and where to look. And he's not. What I like about him now too is he's willing to run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and remember too the big difference between last year and this year. this year he has an O-line. So he didn't have such a strong O-line last year, so he didn't have time to make the reads that he needed to read to be successful on offense. And he has that. And it took him, I remember the Montreal game, the first game of the season, it took him a little while to realize, oh yeah, right, I got protection now, so I can take time. And if I don't see a read after I've gone through everything, then I can run. So he's just got more tools this season. And when you give a man like him, who's a future Hall of Famer for sure, all those tools, you're going to see success. So it's great. It was great.
Yeah, the amount of time that he has in the pocket now, sometimes, compared to last year.
The fact that he has time at all, right?
Yeah,
it's
fantastic.
Last year to this year is awesome. So.
Yeah. He took a beating last year, so he deserves a lot of patience. And I've said this a lot, and if he's got a, I mean, it's his position, and I don't really care what other people say. We don't know how good we have it until he's not there anymore. Let's put it that way. Sorry, Kenny, you're going to say something?
Oh, no, Rogers is a great addition for that offense.
Oh yeah,
so you're absolutely right. It scares me watching what's going on around the league.
Yeah,
and seeing guys going down, and you just knock on wood.
Yeah,
which I always have in my pocket.
Yeah,
because I'm a lumberjack.
Hey-oh! This is family friendly.
Didn't laugh.
I'm sorry, that was me laughing.
I didn't laugh that time.
Yeah,
No, you see what's going on with other teams, and they're getting decimated, and you think, God forbid. I mean, Ottawa's been fortunate. Knock on wood. I'm knocking on wood.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you.
Just want all the listeners to know that.
Yeah. So another
start. The Canadian Open.
That's right. David Hearn, if he's a listener, I'll give you Ken's contact information.
Forward the email to him.
Chris Williams, I mean, another star that came alive, right? 7 receptions, 162, and 1 touchdown, and the long of 84 that I think I've rewatched 3 or 4 times. I've shown friends, I've shown family. Watch this guy, school this guy.
Also,
and I don't
in
know
my
what
fantasy league.
Oh my word. Hey, Mark, just get it in my fantasy league button and just push it every time I say someone who's succeeding. Obviously, Janine has them on her team. You know what? I miss the draft, and I okay. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm trying to get some kind of sympathy, but
I'm just getting ready for the CFL Pick'em discussion when we talk about how bad I'm doing.
I wasn't going to throw you under the bus, but yeah, you're in big trouble now. Anyways, his wheels were on display, and the speed that he showed, literally running away from the defender,
was fantastic.
Was amazing.
It was fantastic, and I'm waiting for him to get a big break too. It's going to happen at some point on special teams.
Yeah.
It's going to happen when he bursts out of there, and it's going to be beautiful to see.
And as big of a momentum swing that was, and as exciting as it was to watch, there's nothing better than those punt returns, right? Like that'll get everyone off your feet.
Yeah. Well, we got that one taken away from us too, so I feel like you've seen it.
Yeah. We're ready. We're ready. Yeah.
But he's averaging 7 yards on returns right now.
Yeah,
That's
no,
it, eh?
no, he's not busted out yet. But,
I mean, special teams is definitely not our forte, and just because you have a guy who can do it, I mean, the guys in front of him got to give him those holes, and I think that'll come. And I mean, special teams are very complicated, and I think the emphasis was probably on coverage. I'm hoping after what we watched last year. Anyways, the other person who we were really pumped about, well, first of all, TDs from our 3 new toys, right? Williams, Jackson, and Ellingson. Awesome. Yep. And the Sholo fumble recovery when we needed him most. Alston Whiteside stepped it up, and it was just great to see. And it was a great ending. So heading into the bye week, I think it's safe to say that our nation is excited to see our rematch against the Als Friday, August 7th.
Yes.
Back at TD Place, another Friday night football at TD Place, the best.
And didn't I hear that it's Lumberjack night or
Lumberjack / Lumberjill night?
So if you have any shirts to lend those of us that don't have
we very rarely take our shirts off. That just
because I was hoping like
only when there's a photographer.
I figured if I showed up there,
we were just walking along the Ottawa River after a long
minding our own business,
doing our log driver's waltz,
just throwing the football around and chopping some wood in our flip flops.
Yes, we are not the safest lumberjacks in
our flip flops.
That's amazing. Anyways, I look forward to that. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I promise I won't have my shirt off.
No, but white suspenders and toques, that's all you need.
It's gonna be fun.
Suspenders, really.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Hopefully, a lot of people participate, and it'll just make for one rowdy, sweaty crowd. Obviously, right? Beer sales will skyrocket, and
these flannel shirts do not breathe that well. So
No,
I'm thinking loading my pockets up with sawdust. And if they score, give a little one of these. What do you think?
Fill the arena.
So
Do it.
Okay, I'm liking it.
No real axes, though, please. That's the one request that we have.
Okay.
Keep the real.
Especially.
Where am I
if
gonna get
there's
the
gonna be that
sawdust
much
from?
beer.
Like, I got a lot of work ahead of me here, bud. So, anyways, thanks for joining us in here, guys. This is awesome. We're gonna be talking to Johanny shortly, and then we're gonna roll into a little around the CFL. In studio styles.
Yeah.
Janine's gonna hop on mic A. I'm gonna go get a tea and possibly crush half dozen red velvet Red Blacks donuts.
Did I hear there was bacon in there?
It's just a candied bacon looking thing.
Wow.
Yeah. Come on.
Well, I'm married, so it's all good. I don't have to watch my girlish figure anymore.
There you go. 105 pounds doesn't come easy, right, bud?
105
All right, so let's roll it into our little chat with Johanny. Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Bleed Red Blacks podcast. Check us out at bleedredblacks.ca for blogs, photos, and podcast archives. So we're lucky to be joined today by Johanny Jutras, who is starting the third leg of her CFL road trip. Hello and welcome to the show.
Hi.
So first of all, I want to congratulate you on the early success of your project. And it was great to meet you last week in Ottawa.
Thanks, I really appreciate it.
So first of all, we'll get the basic stuff out of the way. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into photography and how that led into this current CFL project?
Oh, that's a very large question. Well, I've been a photographer since a few years. I've always wanted to be a photographer, since as far as I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I started sports photography because of my brothers. Actually, I have 3 younger brothers that played football.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was young, I went to my first game of football, and I was like, we're talking about really young kids playing football, so not the CFL. And I was like, oh my God, this is so long and so boring. So I got to try to find a way to have fun here. So I decided to take my camera, go on the sideline, started to take photos of my brothers playing. And that was the time when Facebook started, actually. So I was putting the photo of my brothers on Facebook, and then I was having requests from other players. Oh, that's not fair. You don't take photo of us. And then I started to take photo of other players. And, I've started to get some work from some blogs, from some local newspapers, and then more bigger newspapers, and then CIS football, and then the CFL, and here I am.
Janine is pumping her arm right now. She's a big CIS supporter, so she liked that one.
Yeah, it's a good game, actually. It's people that loves the CFL should sometimes cheers for their local CIS team too, because it's great games, and it's the future of the CFL that plays there. So it's really cool too.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's great what you've done, and I know you're just kind of in the early stages of your trip. But what's your best moment been so far? And don't say seeing Ken with his shirt off, please.
Damn, that was my answer.
I've been taking it easy on him, but I told him I'm gonna have to call him out on that at least once. So.
I don't know if I have great moments. I really had fun at the tailgate party with the Southsiders people there. I had fun with the Lumberjos all week. They helped me a lot with knowing more about the culture and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I had fun hanging around the team, and my week in Ottawa was close to perfection, I should say.
It's a wonderful city, and we all love the community very much. And I'm glad that you kind of got a taste of what we get to live with every day. It's a great place. So the CFL project you're doing, so you're visiting all 9 cities. And I assume you're working from east to west. So what's the timeline, the total timeline for this project?
I started 2 weeks ago, and will be my last game I will be covering is in Vancouver on September 15th, actually against the Red Blacks.
Oh,
so
cool, nice.
Started with the Red Blacks, and we'll end with the Red Blacks in Vancouver.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah.
And then I have to drove back.
Oh, might as well just sell your car and fly home, right? Come on.
No, it's just kind of cool because, you know, I'd like to come back to Ottawa to take more photos because I kind of feel like I should have some photos I've had in mind I didn't have time to take. So I want to come back. And I have the feeling that it will be like that for most of the cities. So my plan is just to do this road trip, spend a week in each city, and then on my way back, maybe stop again for one day, for one game, for whatever, just to kind of like make sure the book is going to be complete and
For sure.
exactly how I want it.
Well, it is such a special community, you know, like people that I'm new to the community myself. This podcast has really introduced me to a lot of awesome people, and it's just so nice to meet like-minded, positive football fans. And it is a family kind of vibe, and I really like it. And I'm glad that you're kind of feeling the same way.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I just have to ask: after your weekend here, how can you not be a Red Blacks fan? Seriously, right? Like I know your boys back home, but might not agree with me. But come on, how can you not be a Red Blacks fan?
I really agree with you, and I was really surprised by how the fans are like into it compared to what I know, compared to Montreal, which is an older team, and you guys have the team like since it's your second season. You know, past season wasn't that good,
Right?
and you already have tradition. You already have, like, I was amazed by that, and that's for sure. I'm not a fan of any team, and I'm not saying that just to be, like, politically correct, but I'm just not a fan of, I'm a fan of every team. I'm a fan of the game and the passion and all that. So, but yes, I was totally cheering for the Red Blacks at the last game, that's for sure.
Well, that's amazing. Well, I have a favor to ask you. Here at BleedRedBlacks, we love food. And, you know, I'm curious to know what food is kind of unique at each community and city you visit. So if you could take a picture of your best meals and send them to me, that would be amazing. Like, that's the kind of dirt I'm looking for, okay? Like,
I was thinking of doing a blog post every week related to the best local food. Like let's say we're talking about Montreal. Montreal, we have the poutine. We invented it.
Yep.
That's it. When you go to Montreal, you got to have a poutine. But I was thinking, what's the very unique food I can get in Ottawa? Is there any?
I'd say a beaver tail.
Yeah, but we have that in Montreal too.
Okay.
Not like Ottawa.
Suzy Q Donuts.
There's nothing, eh?
What the pierogies at the punk rock bar? They're amazing. You caught me off guard there. I thought I was asking the questions around here.
Well, I was asking myself the same question, and I was like, okay, I gotta find something very unique in each city. That's gonna be another challenge.
Okay.
Let's try to find something unique here in Hamilton.
So maybe that's some homework for me then. Maybe I got to find that thing, and I'll let you know. And when you come back through, we'll meet up, and you can buy me one of them. That would be perfect. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
We'd love to have you on anytime. Creative projects like yours not only inspire other young artists, but also bring out a side of the league that many fans may normally not get to see. You know, and I think these are the exact kind of projects that the CFL needs to support to reach those damn millennials who are trying to attract this game to. And I just think it's awesome what you're doing. And could you briefly tell everyone where we can find your latest update?
Sure. Have a blog. Sorry, accent.
That's
French
okay.
accent. CFLroadtrip.ca. I'm lucky enough to have a nice guy like Ken help me out with the writing part.
That's great.
And I'm posting photos and I'm like documenting the entire road trip through it. I'm kind of like trying to find my rhythm right now because it's a lot of work. But I promise I'll be posting more stuff and more photos and all that in the few next days.
Cool.
But for right now, it's just like I'm a lot on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. You can follow me. It's Joanie Jutras. I'll spell it JohanyJutras on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. So, yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And we think what you're doing is just great. And if there's anything we can do moving forward, please lean on us and don't be afraid to send us an email. I don't know what that may be, but we'll definitely do our best to help you out. And safe travels. And we're definitely excited to follow you on the rest of your journey.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thanks to all the R Nation and Red Blacks fans and team and organization. I had a really good time there.
All right, great. Well, hopefully I'll see you when you come back through to try that mystery food that I haven't found yet. So.
That's for sure.
Okay, take care. Thank you so much.
Bye, Joanie.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, for Instagram photos, check us out at BleedRedBlacks. For game day photos, tailgate photos, and photos of whatever, come check us out at BleedRedBlacks.
Dude, isn't she a Bombers fan?
Let me laugh even harder.
But for the love of God, please start hook sliding.
Dude, whatever. She's an Ottawa fan too.
Did Buck Pierce's constant injuries not teach you guys anything?
Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Enough ranting, on to the games.
Really? Righteous. Welcome to Around the CFL with Jin on the Bleed Red Blacks podcast.
All right, so here we are rocking around the CFL like we did back in the old days, Colin.
That's right. It's we're kicking it old school style.
That's right.
I like it.
Before you proposed to me.
Well, I forgot about that.
Oh,
I did.
A girl never forgets her proposals.
I mean, I didn't forget about that. That was legit.
And this time we've got Ken to help us out. So this is going to be a little in-studio version of Around the CFL, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is awesome. Let's rip it.
All right. So let's start with the Toronto BC game. So Toronto was coming off a bye week, and sometimes byes this early in the season, as I talked about last week, can be a bit of a momentum killer. But and it looked like that coming. Did you guys catch this game at all? Did you see any of it?
By the time I got to the pub after the Red Blacks' awesome victory, it was. Andrew Harris already had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. So
I don't know if you noticed, but I have him on my fantasy
I
team.
knew that would come up. And I deserved it. I deserved it.
Yeah, okay. I've basically been waiting an hour and a half to say that, so I'm gonna go now. Yeah.
But this game started off the same way. Like Toronto looked really flat coming out after the week off, and as you said, 3 touchdowns. In the first 2 quarters for Andrew Harris, had the BC Lions up 21-0, and they just didn't look good. Trevor Harris was picked off on 2 back-to-back drives, and that led to 14 points for BC. So I know our friends at the BC podcast were at the Lions. Why can't I remember the name of the podcast, guys? I'm sorry. The podcast.
There you
That's
go.
what I'm going to do.
BC Lions Den.
The BC Lions Den. They must have been pretty excited up in their seats. But
Mojo's going to be devastated.
I'm sorry, Mojo. I'm sorry, Mojo. The only man who has a crush on me, and I've let you down.
That isn't in this basement. Hey-oh!
Whew, it's getting warm in here, Mark.
Well, take your shirt off. Ken loves to.
Who's proposing to who here?
Yeah.
This is why we don't do at CFL in studio anymore.
Because you jam your normal one into 5 to 7 minutes.
Yeah, no kidding. Anyway, what does Mike say? Back on the rails. Let's get this show back on the rails.
Stick to the notes.
So BC looked really great starting this game off. And then the turning point was really in the third quarter. BC was up by 11 points. Mm-hmm. 3rd down and 4 yards to go, and I can't figure out why. If anybody has any ideas, give us a tweet. Why Jeff Tedford decided to go for it on 3rd down at the midfield point, and they missed. And Toronto got the ball back, and from then on, Toronto just really turned on the Jets, and they ended up winning this game 30-27. Trevor Harris shook off 2 first quarter interceptions, and just marched that ball like a champ. It was great to watch. I don't know if you caught any of the second half.
No, I did for sure. I had Toronto in my pick'em, and so I was watching attentively, and Yeah, it was kind of weird. But I mean, we talk about this all the time, but momentum shifts so quickly.
Absolutely.
And definitely a bizarre coaching decision. But
yeah, and he's taken he's a bit of a pariah right now, Jeff Tedford is. But look, had they been successful, everybody would be saying he's a genius. So you know what job I never want? Head coach. Doesn't matter what you do, you're wrong all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, come on, Jeanette. You'd rather wear the GM hat, I think, though, right?
I wouldn't mind being a GM. Calling people's moms. But Travis Lulay, just talk about him for a minute. Last game, he didn't have a great QB rating, and he didn't have stellar stats, but he did run for 105 yards, I think it was last week. This week, he didn't get any rushing yards on the night, and he ended up finishing 18 of 32, 165 yards, only 1 touchdown and 1 interception. So Travis still isn't quite up to the Travis Lulay that BC fans know and love. Still taking him some time, I think, to get back into the groove, and he had a pretty mediocre night, so it'll be interesting to see how he bounces back. He's still a great quarterback, though, so I'm not expecting him to take too much time to right the ship.
And I'm happy to see that he's been able to stay healthy thus far.
Yeah.
He's had a rough run, and I mean, I don't wish that upon anyone, and hopefully he can stay on the field this season.
Yeah, and he's one of those quarterbacks that when he's playing against a team that you're cheering for, you kind of hate him, but when he's playing against every other team, you love him. And that's a sign of a good quarterback, right? So I think Travis Lulay will come out quite a bit stronger in the next game.
I think if BC doesn't get some defense, it won't really matter, to be honest. Like, their defense is really struggling right now, but it is still early, but yeah, they need to give him some support as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot being said about how BC has the youngest team in the league. I want to say 22 new players, but I might be wrong on that. But they've got a lot of new blood on the team. So Jeff Tedford is it's not his first time in the CFL, but he has been down south for a number of years before coming back. So might be a little bit of rust there too, but. We'll see what happens. I know we'll hear the podcast is back this week in BC, so we'll hear what they have to say. And yeah, you got 3 touchdowns out of Andrew Harris in fantasy.
Sure did.
So you have every right to be smug sitting over there on microphone A.
I just had too many red velvet cupcakes, actually.
The only other thing I'd say about that game is, speaking of rookies, Toronto has a rookie receiving core, and Trevor Harris is really spreading that ball out to them. Hazelton, Elliott, Gurley, who you also have because you outbid me for him because you can stay up till midnight on a Tuesday.
Well, you got $2,500 to spend.
I know, but
people
I
are
can't
betting
stay
like
up till midnight.
$1. So throw $500 down on them and go to sleep.
That wasn't the problem. The problem was you stay up later than me.
And in all honesty, I don't know what time zone it is, but it was actually well after midnight Eastern when that went through, so it might be working off a different clock. I think it was more like 2 a.m.
See, I can't. There's no way. I got to start trading.
I got up early for work. That's what happened.
So it's good to see those rookie receivers having an impact in Toronto. So great game in Toronto, and man, nobody thought this was going to happen with Ricky Ray being out, but Trevor Harris.
It's going to be a scary team when Ricky comes back.
Yeah, it will be a scary team.
Are you going to ride Trevor Harris, though, for the rest of the until he gives you an excuse not to?
I don't think you cannot put Ricky Ray back in at starting when Ricky Ray comes back, but I think the big question is who's sniffing around to see what they can get for Trevor Harris right now. There's been some talk too, maybe it's Ricky Ray that they'll trade, but I don't see them trading. Just like Henry's the face of our franchise.
If I cheered for the green team, I'd be putting an offer in, that's for sure.
Well, you know who else? The green team, the Bombers. We'll get to that in a minute.
Right,
but
yeah,
both of those teams are in trouble on the depth chart when it comes to quarterbacks. So
brutal, yeah.
So there'd be a few teams that would be interested in Trevor Harris, and he's really showing his stuff. So good for him. So Toronto takes the win, and I was wrong in CFL Pick'em again. So the next game up was Winnipeg versus Edmonton. Do we have to talk about this one, guys? Do we have to?
Hey, it's your segment, dude.
Let's move. No. Congratulations, Eskimo Empire. Your team kicked some Bomber ass.
Yes.
Final score in this one was 3-30, or Winnipeg 3 and Edmonton 32. It was a heck of a lot closer than that going into halftime, though. It was 4-3 for Edmonton. rain.
A dirty night in Edmonton.
Dirty night, yeah. A lot of rain. Edmonton must be saying, geez, when are we going to play in something that's not a monsoon? Yeah. So there were a lot of mistakes being made, a lot of balls being dropped. Receivers were having a hard time holding on. So it was a really, really quiet game on offense for both teams in the first half. Even the run, when it's rainy, usually you expect to see a lot more running. But and Shakir Bell, who we saw pull some great moves on us last week, was really quiet in the first half too.
I also have him on my fantasy team.
Yes, I know.
Sorry.
Now we're getting to the part. Now we're getting to the payback part.
Okay, I'm done. Yeah, that was my last
Saving
one.
these up.
Yeah.
He's been waiting. He's been waiting.
I just got it on my arm. I got it on my hand, looking at it all day.
Oh man, for me, the big part about this game. So the third quarter happens. Rain goes away. Drew Willie goes down. Now Drew Willie was kind of hit high and low. He was hit by 2 defenders. I'm a little surprised at the low, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Bomber fan. I'm saying this because usually a low hit on a quarterback below the knees is a flag. No flag was thrown, and Willie came off with his knee on ice. Although today they're saying that he's questionable for this week, but he won't be out for that long. So that is good news. Yeah. But damn it, those Bombers, when they lose Willie in a game, all the wheels fall off the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you could feel it.
Absolutely.
I watched that point, and you could almost Edmonton even knew, right? This is their time, and they picked it up on offense pretty much right afterwards. And that's exactly what they did. Shakir Bell picked it up. They pulled Matt Nichols, who still is not. I mean, he's getting the wins, but he's not really outstanding. They pulled Matt Nichols and put in James Franklin, who Andrew loves. James Franklin. He looked awesome. He really did.
3 touchdowns. He didn't look like a rookie. He really didn't look like a rookie.
I want to say he's on my fantasy team.
But A, you don't have.
I don't have one.
B, so it was
former Blaine Gabbert backup at Mizzou. Just
there you go.
Just the more you know.
You've been doing your homework.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm feeling a little threatened about my segment here. Is this because I'm so bad at CFL pickup? I've been waiting for this day. Oh man. So the Eskimos just really went on to railroad the Bombers, and Willie, even while he was in the game, had a bad night. Now a lot of that is probably the rain. He was 7 of 17 and 81 yards, which is I think he's got the second best percentage in the league right now for quarterbacks, so it might even be the best actually. But so that was uncharacteristic of him. But Brian Braum, who came in, he came in last year as well when Willie went down in one game and threw 2 interceptions. He came in this season twice and threw 2 interceptions. Like, he's the 2 interception guy. Yeah. And I'm really starting to worry about depth, and I'm starting to worry about the Bombers not being able to find a way to win without Drew Willie in a game. So I'm pretty sure Mike O'Shea is more worried than me. Yeah. So we'll see.
But damn, does he look good these days? Right? He's. Seriously, he looks slim and trim.
I love that guy. I love him.
He looks great. Yeah.
Love him. I love that he wears shorts every single game. Doesn't matter how cold it is. He's in those shorts.
Can't say I noticed that, but whatever you're doing.
We might be looking at different things along the sidelines. Cheerleaders, Mike O'Shea. That's how it breaks down. Just a few stats. Shakir Bell, we talked about. He had a really slow start, but he finished strong with 12 touches for 95 yards. And like I didn't get the breakdown by quarter, but the vast majority of those yards came in the second half. So really turned it on when he needed to. Paris Cotton on the Winnipeg side of the field, I mean, his first game of the season was a plus 100 yarder, and he's just not getting the touches. And I'm starting to wonder if that's part of the problem on offense for the Bombers. I think they need to get him the ball more. So yeah, Edmonton, congratulations, Andrew. Congratulations, Uncle Tim. I'm a little sad, but I still like you guys anyway. And then the last game was Hamilton and Saskatchewan. And those Riders. So the Riders have won 13 of the last 14 games against the Ticats at Mosaic. And they are just, I kind of I thought this last week too, though, mind you. I thought this has to stop soon. This losing streak has to stop. And the Ticats were definitely hungry for a win in Mosaic, and they probably smelt some blood in the water because of the 0-4 start at that point in time. And because of that 0-4 start, there's been a lot of rumors about how long will Corey Chamberlain last in Saskatchewan. And I've talked a little bit already about his reaction to that. He's head coach until somebody tells him not to, and he's responding to his critics in the media. But what I find interesting about the rumor is Paul LaPolice, who does the coach's playbook on TSN, is rumored to be the guy that they're having a look at. And I don't know if this is true or not. I have no credible sources. I just watch the panel. I don't know anybody in the
You
biz.
are the credible source,
I'm
dude.
the credible source. But what I find interesting about the rumor is when it came time to hire a new OC after they fired George Cortez last season, LaPolice was shortlisted and interviewed by Chamberlain and didn't get the job. They gave it to Jacques Chapdelaine. So I just find that a little interesting. If it's true, it's an interesting little twist of fate. And if it is true, my best wishes go to both Corey Chamberlain, who I think has been a great head coach, but to Paul LaPolice, who I think was given a pretty short stick in Winnipeg, and I'd like to see him back on the sidelines.
He'll coach again soon for sure. He's got a pretty sweet gig now, and I think
a great gig. It's good.
Yeah,
it's
and
a
I think
gig.
sometimes those guys like taking a step back for a couple years.
Yeah,
probably easier to focus on family and just your own personal life after dedicating so many years to the teams and stuff. So
and getting to meet us at the Grey Cup. You can't meet us if you're a head coach,
obviously,
because you got to be out there getting ready.
Did I meet him?
I
don't
did.
remember.
I don't know if you came with me, but I got my husband to snap a picture of Lapo and I.
Okay. Oh no, I was there. You're right. Yeah.
You might have been that dragon sushi. Was it that?
The sriracha aioli? My word.
I had to slide that in there because Mike's not here. So anyway, back to the game, back on the rails. Both teams had some big names come back. Ryan Smith and Nick Dembski came back from injury. Nick Dembski, former CIS player for the University of Manitoba Bison, and he was injured in the first game, so it's good to see him back. The Riders also signed free agent Alex Suber, who's played for both Winnipeg and Toronto. So I was quite happy to see him back because he was always kind of one of my favorites when I watched the Bombers more regularly than I do now. But the biggest player to come back was CJ Gable. The Ticats have been without a running game essentially since all of their backs have been injured. And they got CJ Gable back, and he will get to let's get to his stats right now. 128 rushing yards on the night. And
it was his first time playing since last June, I believe.
Something like that. He got injured. It might have been... It might have been a little bit later in the season, but early on in the season,
but seeing
he was
him
injured.
Come back and look like he was a force. He looked awesome.
Yeah.
And sometimes a little time off will heal the rest of the body too, right? So.
Yeah.
And again, watching a back that can just plow through for the extra yards, plow through the O-line for the extra.
Red black envy for sure.
I really was envious.
Yeah.
And it was good to see. It was good to see him have so much success on his first night back. Caleros had a stronger game than he did last week. Last week he didn't look like Caleros. He looked maybe a little Jonathan Crompton-esque out there, but this week he looked much better. And his first quarter, he had over 100 passing yards and a touchdown. Junior Collins gets the first touchdown of his CFL career, so good for him. Caleros was a little slow the rest of the way until the fourth quarter when he started to connect with Andy Fantuz. So kind of made me wonder why'd you wait so long to connect with Andy Fantuz, because that was the difference maker. That's how they were able to march the ball down the field and finally get a touchdown. They'd been marching downfield, but weren't able to.
They kept settling for 3, right?
Yeah, they were settling for 3.
I think Medlock had 5 field goals or something.
Yeah, and actually I didn't put it in the notes here, but you're reminding me. The first drive of the game, Austin put Medlock out for a 58-yard attempt. And I loved it, though. I have to say, I loved the call because it shows confidence in your kicker. It's 0-0 at this point if he makes it or doesn't make it. What do you guys think?
For years in the league, say the last 5 to 7 years, that part of the game has pretty much been taken right out. I mean, there's been just a handful of plus 50-yard kicks made over the last few seasons, and I feel like there's probably been more, at least attempted this year than all those, cumulatively. So I think it just says a lot about the skilled guys we're getting to come up here, and I mean, I like going forward. It's exciting. I guess as long as you own it when you give up amazing field position, right? But
yeah. And I mean, he shows confidence in his team when he does that. And whether Justin makes that kick or not, what he's got in the back of his head is my coach believes in me. So when I have to make the kick, he's got that feeling in the back of his head.
And not only that, but it shows faith in your defense too. If he does miss it, I'm not worried about giving him the ball at midfield. And so it's almost a pump up for the whole team. Yeah.
So I liked the call. Anyway, it was a pretty even game until Kevin Glenn went down, and Kevin Glenn took some big hits, which is not a surprise against the Hamilton D. But I think what finally knocked him out of and he looked a little bit shaken up for a while there. But I think what finally got him was he did throw an interception later in the game. Rico Murray made it all the way to the 3-yard line, and it was Glenn that tackled him to save the touchdown. But in doing so, he did something to his shoulder, to his throwing shoulder. So I don't know. No word yet on how long he's going to be out. Brett Smith got to come in and do his best, but he didn't do so well. 2 of 4 for 12 yards. Had a hard time out there. There was some chatter on Twitter about, how can you win with a rookie quarterback? But I'll just remind people that there's a rookie quarterback in Montreal who's tearing things up right now, and Rakeem Cato. So
Mr. Willie was a rookie last year, right?
Yeah, that's right. And James Franklin, who we saw come out in the last quarter of the Edmonton-Winnipeg game, get 3 touchdowns. So I don't know that it's the quarterback that's the source of all the trouble in Saskatchewan right now.
Yeah. Nothing makes me happier it's awful when the number one goes down. That's terrible. But just as a fan of the league, to see someone who can step up, even a young guy, that says a lot about this league moving forward. And I think there's a lot of skilled guys kind of hanging in those second and third spots right now.
Yep.
And as much as I love for the league to commit one of those spots to a national player, you can't really argue with the guys they have in there now. That's a topic for another day, but
no, and it's exciting. Like a few years ago, there was no one to go to when your first guy went down. So it's so good. It's a sign of a healthy league to see this many,
for sure,
much depth at quarterback, and let's hope that Winnipeg and Saskatchewan can get some of that depth.
That's an evil laugh.
No, it's actually, I'm trying not to cry about the Winnipeg part. That's what that is. That's 0-5 in Saskatchewan. And I asked our good friend Jax how she felt, because she was at that game. And I asked her what the mood was coming out of the stadium. And she said it's a mix of people who are like, oh yeah, it's okay, we're gonna get it next time, and people who are just bummed.
Well, she must have went for some retail therapy afterwards, because I'm pretty sure she said she spent $270 in the store. So hopefully she feels better.
She got some good stuff. She got some good stuff, and she got some good pictures. She ended up being in the same hotel as where the Ticats were staying, so she ended up chatting with a few of the Ticats players. And I know Josh on Pods Kiwiwi is going to be happy to see some of those pictures. So I think she had a good time, and you and I will maybe get to have a similar experience on September 19th when we
take our rip out to Regina.
Yeah, take our 24-hour trip to Regina.
Well, I've never been to the prairies before.
Really?
No, I've never been, and this is my first experience. So who better to go with than someone that can tell me about the western winds before they really kick off?
You sit in those stands at Grey Cup and tell me there's no western winds. So that's it for the games. I don't normally do this on my solo segment, but let's do it just because in the standings, look who's tied for number 1 in the East, boys. Ottawa and Toronto.
It feels good.
Doesn't that feel good?
And good on the East for flexing their muscles a bit early. Like we got owned last year early.
Yeah.
Like remember we had like 1 win and people were like, that's cool. Like we're still in first. That was like week 7
1
or
win
something.
to Labor Day and we're still in it.
But total parity in the league this year, so it's good to see. So in the East, they're listing Toronto ahead of Ottawa, but we all know it's a tie. So Toronto and Ottawa are both in at. That's why, because Toronto. Sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses.
They had that bye week.
Or are these the old standings?
No, Toronto had that bye.
Yeah, but they have played. Oh yeah, okay, sorry.
You're good,
this is
bud.
why Ken's here. Yeah. So Toronto's in first because they've only got 1 loss. They're at 3-1. Ottawa in second, 3-2. Montreal at 2-2, and Hamilton should now be at 2-2. I think I didn't put in the updated Well, it's the CFL website. We know the problems there.
This is the updated one, I'm sure.
It's gonna be interesting games this week. The standings. You could have, Hamilton can win.
Yeah, there's some tight games this week.
Back to 3-2. You're gonna have 3 teams with 3 wins, and
I can't wait till Hamilton and Ottawa play.
And I think it's awesome that Johanny's in to see them host Argos.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be
that's going to be an amazing experience for her as well, right?
When it's their first game too, right? This year at Tim Hortons Field.
Yes,
they were displaced because of the Pan Am games. So and that's an awesome field, and they dominated.
And they haven't
field.
lost there yet, have they?
I don't think
I don't think they've lost there yet. So that'll be an interesting matchup next week. And then over in the West, congrats to our friends at Eskimo Empire because Edmonton is in first place.
And aside from their hiccup in Fort McMurray in that weirdo game. They're crushing, right? And
yeah, I mean, they definitely, well, as you call him, the Red Black Killer, Darius Bowman, is turning it on when he needs to. I'm still a little concerned about, I'm not concerned about their overall quarterback situation because they have Franklin behind, but Nichols has been in the league for 6 years now, and he's got to be careful. If he's got the start next week, Chris Jones has said, but if he doesn't step it up, who knows what'll happen. But yeah, Edmonton, might be too early to say best defense in the league, but they sure are a defensive powerhouse. So
as far as their lines go, O-line and D-line, I think they're right up there with anyone else for sure. And I mean, Odell's not even really doing anything yet, right? And I think he's been having some little cries and something.
Well, he was benched after that penalty from the bench.
Could you imagine if I had to say that to his face? How's your cry?
I wouldn't say that to the mayor of Swaggerville.
I'm fast, but I'm not that fast. Downhill, maybe, but
I guess it's not Swaggerville anymore. That was in Winnipeg. It's the mayor of Commonwealth.
There you go. Oh, how distinguished.
So we've got Edmonton, Calgary in first with 3-1. Calgary in second with 3 wins and 2 losses. BC is in third at 2-2, but I think they're going to have to make some changes if they want to up that W. And Winnipeg at 2-3, and Saskatchewan 0-5. So things are shaping up to be pretty interesting on both sides of the league, and we're in for a treat this season, boys.
Every week there's been at least 2 of the 4 games that have just been unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I think with this league finally getting some exposure down south, like these guys are really getting a treat, and they kind of all see what. Why we love this league. It's awesome, right? So, well, thanks for coming in here and doing your Around the CFL, Jen, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
Ken, thanks for coming in. I mean, I needed you guys, and you're here for me. So, what else can I say, right?
It's our nation, right?
I heard there was cupcakes, so
I mean, candied bacon. I mean, that's what we eat in Ottawa, right?
What lumberjack says no to candied bacon?
Exactly.
None.
Never happened. It has never happened.
You can hear the flavor.
Yeah. Right now. So Johnny Z, even though he's at the cottage, he's managed to still fire up a segment for us this week. So this week's featured artist is Capital Grass and the No Men. Band members Matt, Wayne, Darcy, and Mike. These guys, they call themselves a turn of the 21st century troubadours combining old-time clawhammer banjo and garage rock into an energetic hybrid genre called garage folk. Now,
I can't wait to hear this one.
That sounds pretty awesome, right? Like, I don't even know what I just said, but I'm ready to jump into it.
You had me at banjo.
You had me at clawhammer. So this featured track is called Genuine off their second album release, Hunker Down Low. And you can find their music at capitalgrassandthenomen.bandcamp.com. So I hope you guys enjoy that. We're obviously not doing a game preview this week since we're on a bye week. Later on this evening, season ticket holder Mike and myself will be chatting from Vegas. We're going to do a little CFL pick'em. We're going to do a little... a new segment. Well, I'm trying to make a new segment called Parlez-vous Degen, but we'll see how that goes. But like parlay, betting. Anyways, cue the crickets, Mark. So we'll see. We may or may not have it out. All depends on season ticket holder Mike, but
and that pool.
He's at the Palazzo pool, so we'll see what happens. Anyways, thanks again, guys.
Thanks,
and we'll catch up with everyone shortly. Take care.
Thanks a lot.
Here at Bleed Red Blacks, we love our football, but we also love the music our great city has to offer. It's the Bytown Beats local music spotlight segment on the Bleed Red Blacks podcast. Today's featured artist, Capital Grass and the No Men. Thank you for listening to this week's installment of the Bleed Red Blacks podcast. All musical content used in this podcast is all local Ottawa talent. If you are a local artist wanting to get your material heard on Bleed Red Blacks, send us a message on our Facebook group. Tune in next time, and remember to bleed red black.